seeing this video, step number 4, install, you have already received your InFlataSaver kits, your individual kits, or your packages with multiples. So now this video is going to show you how to poke the holes, mark the holes, get it all done. And instead of just being in the behind the curtain, I'm going to get out in the shop and do it on a real inflatable. So you'll see, this is Darcy's old inflatable. This is the one that was in the video that had the screwdriver through it. He used it every day when he used to work at Sailors before he retired. But now you'll have all your parts that come with it. For this step, you'll need your trim ring. Your lock ring. I like to have the inner body because once you cut it all, poke the 6 holes for the studs, I like to stick this through there, make sure that everything is good, the holes the correct size, the smaller 6 holes are all in the right spot, and you can push them through, because if you can't, now is the time to fix it, not later when you're trying to install and deploy the inner tube. So that's things to think about. You want to do all that before. So you'll need, like I said, you'll need a pen, just a regular ink pen. You'll want a Sharpie. That's the easiest to measure mark the 6 holes with, is a Sharpie, because you just put it in there and it puts a little dot right in the center. And then it makes it really easy. You put the file right on the hole or right on the dot and go right in there, and that makes a hole right in the center. So, really all you need is like I said, a pen, a knife, some scissors, and that allows you to do this step. Now, before you move along and you cut this hole, let's go back and review steps 1 through 3. Make sure everything's fine. Now, this is a really simple boat. It's a 2-valve boat. Like I said, it's Darcy's old boat. There's no problem where the valve mounts, the InFlataSaver valve mounts, not a problem. And then, like I say, I mark it, and there it is, 6'5". This is a 6'5". You measure back, add a round up, and then you measure from the valve forward to the center on this, which would be the centerline baffle, and on this one you round up and add the foot, like in our pick diagrams that show you how to do this, and in the help forms for measurement. So now we're going to move along, because we know we have the right inner tube. We know where we're going to mount it. It hasn't changed. We haven't lost our mark. These are all important steps, because once you cut it, if something's wrong, it's not like you can fix it right now unless you have spares or can, do something. So you want to go back and check all your steps. This is new, revolutionary. And but now we're going to move on. It's not real hard. So this is the one where you're gonna take your lock ring and your ink pen and your Sharpie. Okay. Now what you're gonna do is like we say, what you want to do is you want to make it straight. So what I normally recommend to do is put the name going up and the hole for the rope, for the cap, going down. And that just is an easy reference to tell you that it's all lined up. Now you center it, right? Now a lot of times I recommend to do this with air in the boat, but this boat, it won't hold air for 2 seconds. So it's just as easy right here. I can show it to you. You see it. So what you do, it's really simple, is you take the ink pen and you mark where you can around here. And if you are doing it, while it's flat, you definitely want to make sure it's nice and pretty. It's flat. It's laying good. It's centered before you move forward. Now, it's really simple. I did all that. Now I'm going to mark where my individual holes are. And make sure you don't move it. Now when you take it off, you should have 6 little dots. Right? And the mark right there. Now there's a little bit where you can't mark where the tabs are. So what you do is you take that and turn it a little bit where you can see it all centered. And then you take your ink pen and you mark where you couldn't. Alright, really simple. See, so now you got a perfect circle with six little dots. Right? It's that simple. Now, let me regroup here and get my file. Now, like I said, you're gonna poke your holes. I like to poke the 6 holes in it, especially if the thing's blown up, because then you can poke the 6 holes, it'll start letting air out, then you cut this. So in this case it doesn't matter because it's flat, but I'm gonna hold it up here where you can see what's going on. Now, it's really simple, see, like I said, you get the dot right on the dot. Let me put on my reading glasses. Let's see what's going on. There we go. But what you do is you line it up right on the dot. Give it a couple of in and outs. Do this one. Now in this case, I got to make sure I don't poke the back. That one's kind of hard to see, but there it is. See, that's why it takes something sharp to get through this. It's pretty difficult. Here, now I'm gonna use the screw just to show you. You can use just about anything. It's not a big deal. But you want to use something that you can definitely get right on that hole and work to where you can get it through. See, I'm basically just screwed the screw through. That's all I did. And then pulled it out. See, I mean, you could use that, not a big deal. I mean, this is just a plain, ordinary deck screw. Everybody's got something to do, but like I say, I recommend, spend a couple of bucks. If you get a package, you'll get the file with it. It makes it real easy. But see, the screw works. You can use that if you had to. Makes a nice hole. Do the last one with the last couple with the file. Now, we got those done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our knife, razor knife, what have you, and you're going to want to cut and start so that you can start the scissors. Now you got to make sure that you do inside the line, but you remember you're going to cut about a 1/16 to an 1/8 outside the line, and the reason for that is because on the trim ring, the lock ring, you marked here, you're going to just cut a little bit outside so that nothing interferes with your InFlataSaver inner tube later on. So now what we're going to do, another thing is, on this one we didn't move, okay? Remember how we said if you're going to move the valve and cut the hole in a totally different spot, when you mark and cut the inside, you're gonna, instead of cutting inside the valve, because it's extra thicknesses, and then moving out towards the line, on that one, it's one layer. So you're gonna poke right next to the line where you're gonna cut it out, and then you can use that old one to patch the old hole. See, when you take this valve out, you could use it to patch the hole where the valve mechanism came out. And that's what we recommend. You do it with 5200, 1 hour 5200, boom, it's done. It's not for air holding, it's just for prettiness and to protect the InFlataSaver inner tube in here. So now I got the holes poked, we went through that. I'm gonna do a little line right next, I got a nice razor knife. I'm going to do a little line right next to the hole. See that? Boom. It was that simple. Now, some people might want to use a razor knife to do this, but if you notice, I'm really good with scissors because I did 20-something years in marine canvas and upholstery. See how I'm just going around? right next to the line, about an 1/8 to a 1/16. Now look, if you get off a little bit, it's not a big deal. You just get back on. Now look, I'm gonna have to come around so it's easy for me to do it on camera. Maybe I can do it on camera for you. Oh, now see how I split it? Not a big deal, just get it back. We're right there. We must be on a doubler. See, I didn't do the first one. This Darcy did this. It was his boat. Back when we were doing those black prototypes. But anyway, I'm cutting right around like we're supposed to. Just a little bit outside the line, see? Now I'm going to come back around. Now I'm going to go this way. And boom. See, we've cut it out. There's a doubler behind it. See the white doubler? I was barely off as far as center. That doesn't make a difference, a bit of difference, because we're good with the hole. But see, if you wouldn't have, you could just unscrew the old valve by grabbing it with pliers or something, because you can get in there with your hands and pliers anywhere you want. Now another thing you want to do is you're going to feel around, make sure there's no, sand or dirt or garbage in there. Take your flashlight, look in there if you feel stuff. Now this one feels like it's got the goop in it, where somebody had tried to repair it with that goop, but guess what? It doesn't work. So you might want to use extra water when you deploy, but in this case, I'm going to use 1.5 gallons, and we're going to use 1.5 gallons, deploy this, and with the soapy water, and that is step number 4. I mean, it's that simple. It's all about cutting the hole, poking it, and then we're going to make sure that this fits, and then we're done. See, I'll just pull the holes through. There we go. We know that it fits now. See that? They're all tight. They're all in the right spot. That'll give us a nice clamp. Now we're good. All right. That wraps up step number 4. In just a moment, we're going to go to step number 5, where we actually put the inner tube in there, deploy it, and inflate it. Check the lock mechanism. And then once we know everything's good with lock and it's deployed correctly, and remember how it blows up symmetrically, circumferentially, and then it extends. That's what we're going to check and make sure. But this is the end of step number 4, install. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you.